Welcome back to Stack Hunters. Bradley Stalder, Dan Williamson here with you. Tonight, we're going to be doing a live draft. Well, it's pre-recorded, but live. Like, we're drafting live. This is not like one of those mock simulations. Dan and I are actually going to jump into best ball streets tonight, dip our toes in, get a little wet. Dan, I'm excited for getting into the Schnauzer 2. For those who are unfamiliar, it is a best ball tournament, $3 entry on Underdog Fantasy, and it has round advancement of 2 out of 12, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, and a 310 seat final with $100,000 going to first place. Pretty top heavy.
Yeah, which you would expect for, it's a $3 tournament. They want to put a six-figure prize up there. This is the way it's going to go. So, but I'm okay with that. We're going to have fun.
We're going to have lots of fun. Let's pull it up here for the people. We'll get all of the things squared away. Dan, you mentioned in the pre-show meeting as we were getting queued up, we are pick 9, and this is a 20-second clock. One of the things I do like about what Underdog has done this year is a varied clock. So they have 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then you can still slow draft 8 hours per pick. So, yeah, this is exciting, Dan. One of the nice things about pre-recording is we can talk about the picks without getting sniped, right, by the listeners
right.
and viewers.
Yes. Hopefully we don't have anybody that we know who's in this draft, but we'll see. Okay, we're up. We've got Nabers, Collins, Brian Thomas, Etienne in the stream, and I could throw Genty in there too.
Yeah, all 4 of those are fine clicks at this spot. I like some Nabers exposure if we're good with that one.
I'm good with that.
Cool. We'll see which of those other 3 come back to us.
I think Etienne might. I'm guessing the others will probably be gone, but we'll see here.
I mean, McConkey is also a player I've been targeting pretty heavily in round 2. So if all those guys go off the board, I'm a big fan of him. Set you up with a pretty nice late, like Justin Herbert stack possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, we went Malik Nabers, Dan, and there's been a lot of positive buzz about Jackson Dart in the OTAs, in practice. The coaching staff says that he's looking really good. The stats, the loosey-goosey stats that the beat writers are putting out say that he's delivering the ball really well. He's completing a lot of passes. How much are you reading into the success of Jackson Dart?
I mean, what else are they going to say, really? And we are up. I'm thinking McConkey here.
Yeah, let's take McConkey here.
All right. That's an easy click. Don't mind that one at all, especially with Drake London off. I'm kind of going back and forth between McConkey and London. But anyway, to finish up on Dart, yeah, they're talking him up. That's what you would expect out of a first-round quarterback. We'll see how he actually does. We'll see if he actually gets to start at all this year. I mean, there's just, there are so many possibilities. But I think they got to get some kind of a look at him this year. So, I can't see them going through this entire year and saying, we're just going to keep him on the bench and keep him learning there. They're gonna want to see what they got.
Yeah, I mean, this is eventual. He's the quarterback of the future. They invested the first round capital. Russell Wilson's on a bridge quarterback deal, so there's no incentive, for them to ruin him right away, because Russ is not cooked, in my opinion, but he's also not what he was 5 years ago, 7 years ago. So he's going to hold his own, but they're going to want to get real reps in for Jackson Dart, and that's what I'm excited for, to see if he can continue to target Malik Nabers at the insane rate that Nabers was getting last year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Dart's pretty fearless, which probably will work out pretty good for Nabers. You want a rookie quarterback who's going to lock in on a main target. That should be Nabers. You want a rookie quarterback who's going to be fearless throwing it. because number one, that means lots more receptions for your guy, and number two, that might mean the occasional interception, pick six, etc., that keep the pressure on to keep throwing the ball, which is always good for Nabers.
Always good for Nabers. McConkey is a player that I have a good time projecting for 24-25% target share. We saw an increased pass volume, especially in the second half of the season for the LA Chargers. It seemed like Jim Harbaugh was trusting Herbert more. So if that's the case, then Trey Harris will be a nice piece. Quentin Johnson had a decent season last year, but it's clearly McConkey's going to be the guy that we want. So I have a lot of confidence in drafting him as we get into here. But we keep getting sniped on some of these wide receivers here in round 3. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson go off, and we're up here in one pick.
Yeah, and there's not really anybody I'm just super wild out about at running back here, so kind of feeling like it's going to be most likely wide receiver. And we're up. I have McLaurin and Tet McMillan both in the queue. Any thoughts there, or anybody else you would rather?
Let's take McLaurin and then see if McMillan comes back around to us, yeah?
All right, we'll give it a shot.
He might. We will see. That 9 turn, sometimes the double taps, work in our favor. Sometimes they don't. It's worth trying to push it a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree.
Some of these guys don't want to miss out on elite quarterbacks, and that's the tier that we're looking at this point. The Josh Allen hasn't gone off. Lamar Jackson hasn't gone off. Jaden Daniels have not yet gone off.
Yep, definitely. All right, I got 3 guys in the queue. Hopefully at least a couple of them will survive.
Ooh. See, I'm not afraid of the DJ Moore pick. I know that there's been a lot of rumble about DJ Moore, but I'm a big believer that talent's just going to win out, that they're really not going to move away from him. Dan, are you more afraid of DJ Moore?
I'm just not super wild about him. I don't like his body language. I just don't like, how he's been presenting himself. He's already been warned this year after a bad year of body language. He's been warned by a new coaching staff. I'm just not convinced he's even going to be around. I think they might try to trade him. So,
well, we pushed Tet McMillan. That was a win.
Yep. All right. Taking him.
All right. We've got 4 wide receivers, Dan. Whew. 4 wide receivers start. I think we're in good shape. I think we can push wide receiver for a while. Mm-hmm. Unless there's really good value, but that allows us to have some freedom as we go later on in the draft, especially with how sparse wide receiver gets after round 4.
Yeah.
Oof, to get McMillan as your wide receiver 4. I don't think there's a lot of teams that have McMillan as your wide receiver 4.
Right. And so that works out good for us. And I like the fact that other than McLaurin, we're looking at a very young, hopefully ascending wide receiver room here. That's always a lot more fun to me than, taking the dustier guys like Mike Evans or, Cortland Sutton, their guy, or, even DJ Moore, guys like that. So I
D stands for Dusty. Is that what you're saying, Dan?
I mean, it could,
Great. So let's see. For the people at home, 4 wide receiver start is pretty unique given the amount of running backs, quarterback, at least quarterbacks, and then the couple tight ends, the Bowers, the Kittle, the Trey McBride. Because McBride right now has gotten up to like the 2-3 turn at that like 25 or so ADP. And he's creeping up on Bowers, Dan, which is where, in my opinion, he should be. He should be closer to Bowers than the ADP is indicating.
Yeah, it's kind of funny on FFPC. Bowers and McBride are they can be separated by as many as 10, 11 picks. Other times they can be as close as 2 or 3 picks. So I tend to think that they belong to more closely together than far apart.
Yeah, looking at what the touchdown regression would indicate for McBride, he's definitely in play for a bigger season. The expected touchdowns were something like 6.5, and he only had 1 or 2 last year. So definitely due, given his target share and the big body frame. And look, Marvin Harrison's going to get his, but then after that, who is it in the Arizona offense? It's Trey McBride.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, this is a nice tight usage tree. You expect it's going to probably be Connor, McBride, and Marvin Harrison. So there's not much to scoff at there in Arizona because it doesn't matter if it's a great offense or not if the usage tree is that tight. All right, I have Travion Henderson. I would also entertain Waddle. I'm not real wild about Mixon.
No, let's go Henderson here.
Okay.
Let's pump that ADP up.
Indeed.
And artificially drop Mixon's ADP and artificially drop RJ Harvey's ADP as well. Look, I have not yet in the projections updated J.K. Dobbins to the Denver Broncos. Okay, I just did. I just updated him, and he's almost exactly along with RJ Harvey in terms of projection. So I don't know. In terms of value, if I'm looking at a Denver Broncos running back, Dobbins is going at 145 still, like round 13. I know that Harvey is the shiny new toy, but there's room for 2 running backs. And if Dobbins is the proven producer, he had over 1,000 total yards last year, 9 touchdowns. And we've seen second round picks fail in year 1 for Sean Payton in Denver. Like Marvin Mims still didn't hit.
All right, we're up. So we got Burrow, which I think is intriguing just because of the value there, or we've got a trio of wide receivers. What do you think?
Burrow is very interesting.
Take him?
Yeah, let's go Burrow.
Okay. I like the value there. That's nice.
Yeah, round 6, Burrow.
Yep.
And then we can get
we can
something
afford to
very
push wide receiver. So, and there wasn't really anybody I was super wild about at running back. So,
we can wait for the
with
values on running back for sure.
Yep. That's the nice thing about best ball. I don't have to predict exactly when they're coming, like I do in seasonal. I'm starting to do. I've been doing some of the big gorillas and things like that over at FFPC. So I'm kind of at that stage where I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between best ball brain and managed league brain, and sometimes it's like, okay, I gotta stop and focus myself here. Okay, what am I doing today, or what am I doing with this particular pick in this particular draft? So, because it really does require a different mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah, best ball versus redraft. Thinking about the range of outcomes in best ball, more so like, does it matter? Like, what will the indicators be? You don't have to worry about indicators in best ball. You do have to worry about like the indicators of when you're in redraft. Like, am I going to be able to access this player in the waiver wire? Am I going to know when to start him in a good matchup or not a good matchup? The certainty of making your lineup, I think, is a big factor in terms of redraft. Whereas, like, you can just take some high upside picks and have a little more risk and variance in your best ball portfolio. Whereas in redraft, I don't know if you can lean in as much or in the same way for those types of exposures.
Yep, definitely. All right, I'm throwing a few running backs in the queue. And I also have
Mandrews in there. I
Yeah.
like that. I like Mandrews. Scatabo, there's been some reports from the New York Giants people that he could just be the bell cow back by October.
Yeah, and I think we try to push him on around. I think we just go Mandrews here. I
Yes.
think that's the clear value for me.
Let's go Mandrews. Oh, there we go. It may not be stacking, but interdivisional selections are also pretty high leverage. You know, you get Mandrews, you get Joe Burrow.
Yep. Exactly. That's how I feel.
A little bit of correlation.
Yes. All right. We're gonna definitely have one of these running backs coming back to us, I think. Unless every team takes exactly the running backs that we have in our queue. So who do you like best out of the running backs that are in our queue right now?
Brian Robinson, I think, gets the most projected volume of those four.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the highest floor guy.
We get the stack with McLaurin as well, which is not a bad thing.
Yes.
All right.
I think
let's just go.
Yeah, let's go Robinson.
There it is.
Boom, you love to see it. I am not like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I am for sure 100% confident that Jaylen Warren's going to be the RB1 in Pittsburgh, to 1 being I have no confidence Jaylen Warren is going to be the RB1. I'm at like a 2.5 to 3. I don't have a lot of confidence that Jaylen Warren is going to be the guy in terms of being the leading ball carrier in Pittsburgh. I don't think he's built for it. I don't think his history has been there. Like, yes, he's super efficient. Yes, he can catch passes out of the backfield. He might have more overall touches than Caleb Johnson, but Caleb Johnson, the pathway for him to out-carry Jaylen Warren by, let's say, 5 carries at least a game, I think exists, Dan, and very strongly.
Yeah, I think that Caleb Johnson is very likely going to be the lead running back by the end of the year. He's just built for it better. As long as he doesn't just, totally faceplant with his opportunities. But this is still going to be a split backfield. I mean, we know that Arthur Smith just does not totally commit to one running back. I see it as being 60-40, pretty much almost no matter what happens. So, that's why I feel fine taking either Caleb or Jaylen Warren, because you know what? They're going to be somewhere between 40 and 60%. I don't necessarily need to know exactly. They're going close enough to each other. I want some exposure to both.
Yeah, and Warren feels like he'll be able to fill in as a flex play in most formats on a week-to-week basis. He may lack the upside, but that's partly built into his ADP. It's why he's going at about 100 overall. You're not expecting 20-point weeks from him, even 10% of the time. Like, I don't think 20 points is in his range of outcomes, but could you get pretty consistently 8 to 12 and be okay with that? Sure. Occasionally he might step into a bye week.
All right. So we've got Jaylen Warren, and we've got I've got Etienne on there. I'm fine pushing Etienne around, see if he comes back. I like Warren here. I think the value's good.
Let's go Warren.
Because he's going basically 2 rounds after Caleb Johnson, so or more than that actually. So
all right, Dan.
That's a nice discount.
A recap for the people. Who have we taken so far?
So far we have Malik Nabers, Ladd McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Tet McMillan, first running back Travion Henderson. Then we went quarterback Joe Burrow, tight end Mark Andrews. Then we went Brian Robinson Jr., Jaylen Warren, like both of those. So I think we're sitting at a place right now where we can do pretty much whatever we want to do.
You love to see it. You love to
You
hear
do.
it. There's a lot of flexibility there, a lot of late round options. I mean, Najee Harris could get some volume there in stacking with our Chargers pick of McConkey. Yeah, that's very interesting. It's interesting that you clicked. Travis Etienne, you pushed him.
I like Etienne.
There's been a lot of positive buzz for Etienne. After there was trade speculation, and ever since Liam Cohen shut that down, Travis Etienne's market has increased. Positive vibes have increased. I think it's worth targeting Etienne at this point if he becomes the lead back in an improved Jacksonville offense, because we know what Tank Bigsby is. He's not that good.
Right. Exactly. And Etienne, I don't know who other than Etienne is likely to be the main pass catcher out of the backfield, because, Tootin can do it. I don't know if it's a weakness, but I would definitely say that it's not a strength yet. So, in Etienne, that's something he's always done quite naturally. So I feel like he's going to have a role in this offense. And, if Tootin fumbles a time or two, it could be the Etienne show. So don't mind that at all. I mean, I have tons of Bashal Tootin in Dynasty, so I'm very much bullish on him long term. I think Jacksonville was very happy to get him where they got him, but they could slow play him on this year. This is the last year of Etienne's contract. I mean, they might just decide, you know what, we're just gonna absolutely bury him with carries and touches, and we're just gonna ride him down to nothing on the way out.
Yeah, might as well ride him down. And also, people forget there's the shower narrative with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. Like, they have had chemistry for a long time. And if both of them are healthy, that is worth targeting. That's worth targeting.
Yes.
Justin Herbert coming up. He's in our queue. He'll stack very nicely with Ladd McConkey if he comes back around to us, and he is there.
All right. Yeah, I think we do that.
Easy click.
We can be done at quarterback if we choose.
I think so.
So
now we can start to target some of the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Quentin Johnston is there.
Yep.
He's a stackable piece.
Yes, he is.
Hollywood Brown, I feel, is mispriced.
Yeah, I think him and Mims are both mispriced, really. I don't mind either one of those. And those are also in the division with the Chargers. So, you get some of that pinball action there.
Oh, and we lost out on Hollywood Brown. So Johnston and Mims still remaining in the wide receiver realm for us.
Yep. I don't really feel like there's any tight ends that are particularly...
Nor running backs.
Yeah. Dobbins. I would go Dobbins.
Yeah, we can wait for that, yeah?
All right. Yeah, so you want to go Johnson?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. I like that because you get the nice stack there. Dobbins probably not coming back to us, but we'll see.
We will see. And we will see what more values we can snipe here on StackHunters right after this message from our partner at the FFPC.
Hey, why do we partner with the FFPC? Because they have the widest variety of fantasy football formats, and it's the easiest place to find all types of fantasy football contests in the world. What if you want to play for high stakes? Well, they have a $6 million prize pool with their Fantasy Players Championship. They also have way too early best ball leagues that start in February and Dynasty leagues. They have the closest thing to a liquid market for orphans that there is in all of Dynasty. And the FFPC has sponsored us for half a decade because we are actually delivering information that can help fantasy gamers, and they're generating so much interest and bringing in so many new users, casual users even. The FFPC creates a unique experience where you can both compete against the best and make money. Use promo code UNDERWORLD to get $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team at the FFPC with promo code UNDERWORLD. Go get it!
That's right. Go get it on the FFPC. Bradley Stalder at FF Stalder. Dan Williamson at Overhyped Sleeper. Dan, we're having lots of fun here in the Best Ball Streets drafting. We just got a great deal on Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, definitely like that. We had a big run of running backs that went off, so it's
Tyler Algier time, baby.
We can definitely do that. I don't mind Roschon Johnson or Tillman here either. So
Tillman,
one of those three will make it to us. Now two of those three will make it to us.
I would be interested in Tillman.
Okay.
For the positional value.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. All right, Tillman's there, so let's take him.
Love it. Interdivision with Joe Burrow.
Yep. And he's he's basically got one of the starting spots locked down in Cleveland. It's going to be him and Judy on the outside. Slot to be determined. We'll see if the corpse of Deontay Johnson can do anything there. But
the Athletic is reporting that Deontay Johnson is the presumed starter in the slot. So with Elijah Moore gone, there's 100+ vacated targets there, Dan, that if Deontay Johnson is not just a corpse, we could be looking at a very, very valuable late round pick.
Yes, no doubt about it. I'm going to throw a couple of...
Gesicki with the stack late is nice. I like that. Okay, here's a question about Cincinnati, Dan. Is Jermaine Burton dead?
Probably.
He's a dud, right?
He has shown no signs, and I think Gesicki, we try to push him to the next pick if we go that way.
Yes.
I like Algier or Roschon here.
Yes, let's go with TA, baby.
TA. Everybody likes a little TA. I didn't put an and in there. There's no and.
Tyler Algier, he is a player that, it's such a shame that the Falcons selected Bijan, partly because the Falcons had been a poverty franchise and may still be a poverty franchise. But Algier rushed for over 1,000 yards in his rookie year and had one of the best PFF rushing grades and yards after contact of any running back his rookie year. So he's really good. And it's a shame that we didn't see more of him. And we won't see more of him unless we get a Bijan injury.
Yeah, it definitely is a shame. All right.
Demario Pop Douglas is getting a lot of love in OTAs. So that's a player that I wouldn't mind taking for positional. Will Shipley's a nice pick as well late. I like those clicks there. Gesicki is the obvious stacking tight end target for us. Yeah, Mason Taylor may get some work right away. The New York Jets receiving options are loosey-goosey right after Garrett Wilson.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
Reportedly, Josh Reynolds is the wide receiver 2 in the depth chart and is getting run ahead of Allen Lazard, my boy Allen Lazard.
I mean, when Josh Reynolds is your wide receiver 2, I don't really think that,
you have a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I don't even think we need to provide any commentary on that. That's just, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, give me like Darius Slayton over a Josh Reynolds.
Yes, definitely.
Those are some players that we can take. All right, we're up here in a couple picks. Yeah, pushing Gesicki seemed to be working out so far. We've survived the Mason Taylor, Zach Ertz. So hopefully,
this guy's got Njoku and Kraft, so hopefully he's not looking tight end here. I think we're going to make it work.
You never know. These things are always wild, Dan.
They are.
There we go.
Trying to assume rational drafting on the part of anybody other than yourself can be a fool's errand.
Yes, because occasionally you have the toilet drafters, Dan. You have the people clicking while they're sitting on the throne, and they are focused on a few things, and one of them is not the stacks and not logic and not gamesmanship.
Yep. So, of course, Demario Douglas and Will Shipley go off right after we click Gesicki.
Well, means we're on the right track.
Right. So I got a couple wide receivers in the queue. I don't know how you feel about those.
I think Keenan Allen signed somewhere, right, Dan?
I think he does too. And when he does, he's going to shoot up about 6 rounds.
Well, think about like where a team would need a slot receiver, right? Cleveland comes to mind pretty obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like Deontay Johnson could just be dust, and then Keenan Allen steps in, and he's actually very reliable.
All right. So we're taking him.
Yeah,
the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is going off before Keenan Allen pretty much tells you all you need to know, because you know what? Hopkins I don't think is totally dust yet, but the thing is there are so many mouths to feed in that offense. Yeah. And you know basically that Flowers, Andrews are going to get theirs.
Likely is going to eat before Hopkins too.
Definitely. And Bateman is going to eat before Hopkins. You know, so you're drafting at least the 5th option on a low volume passing attack.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Yeah. I would rather, give me the,
set a pick on fire, 0. Dan. Set a pick on fire.
Pretty much. I mean, that's where I'm at on it. But, so I think here we could probably go with one more tight end. I don't mind taking an upside shot.
I like Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson is a really good one. I don't mind Terrence Ferguson, and I don't mind Oronde Gadsden. He's been
getting a lot of love lately.
He has been, and he was a guy that I was pretty high on coming out as a rookie. I was snapping him up very late in rookie drafts. Just felt like he was underappreciated. So, yeah, I like that. And then either a running back or a wide receiver probably for our other pick. What do you think here? We got Travion, B-Rob, Jalen Warren, Etienne, and Allgaier for our running backs. And Nabers, McConkey, McLaurin, McMillan, Quentin Johnson, Cedric Tillman, Keenan Allen.
Are we choked on any bye weeks?
14 and 12 are big bye weeks for our wide receivers. Got a couple of 5s for...
Looks like 12 is bad for our wide receivers. Let's see if there's a wide receiver that doesn't have 12.
Okay. Let's take
De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, we could go De'Ami Brown, or we could go A.D. Mitchell.
Either one. I'm okay with either one.
Let's go Mitchell. I think he's... Yeah, nah. Let's go De'Ami.
There we go. And then we'll take one of the tight ends in the last round. Johnson, Ferguson, Gadsden.
Yeah, I like De'Ami Brown. I think he came on, towards the end of the year with Washington. Jacksonville picked him up. They seemed very, very happy to have him. And the latest word with Travis Hunter is, we're just, he's been eating a lot of offense so far in minicamp and everything else, because that's where we feel he's the furthest behind. That's not necessarily where we think he's going to play the most. So,
yeah,
interesting.
Very
if
interesting.
He's not playing that much, that makes De'Ami Brown a really nice click. And of course, Juwan Johnson
goes right off that.
Just before. All right. Ferguson or Gadsden?
Let's go Ferguson. The McVay offense, the draft capital is there. Higbee could be a 0. I don't think Conklin is a 0 in LA. That's the thing, is like, as much as Gadsden is good, I don't deny that he has a lot of talent. This is my bias that you've seen Conklin. Well, this is the stats. Conklin's had at least 70 targets in 4 straight seasons.
Yeah, I'm not sure Higbee's a 0 either. So, I mean, both of them, that's why I have them in the same tier. I think they've got some issues, with the fact that they are rookies and the fact that they have, a decent quality tight end in front of them. I would say Higbee might be a little bit better, but you're also looking at the more creative play caller and probably the higher pass volume in LA. So that kind of breaks the tie towards Ferguson for me.
All right. Well, Dan, give the recap for the people. Who did we draft, and what grade would you give this draft?
I'm going to give this draft I'd give it a good solid B. I think it's a good draft. Probably not a great one. We were just sniped on a couple players that I think would have made it a little bit more fun of a draft. But we have Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert at quarterback, and we just went with the 2 quarterbacks. Then at running back, we have Travion Henderson, Brian Robinson Jr., Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne, Tyler Allgeier, and that's where I feel a little bit weak. I love our wide receivers. We got Nabers, McConkey, McLaurin, Tep McMillan, Quentin Johnson, Cedric Tillman, Keenan Allen, Diami Brown. So we have 8 wide receivers. Got great depth there. And then we have Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki, Terrace Ferguson filling out our tight end room. And we got the Gesicki stacks with Burrow, so that works out nice. We got a couple stacks with Herbert as well. And we have Brian Robinson and Terry McLaurin stacked up as well. Yep. So yeah, it looks good. I like how this draft came together. It's a good solid one.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I'll give it a B+. I feel like
I'm not going to argue on the plus there.
Yeah, really it's fine. We're in the same range. The interesting, I suppose, we're not the not having Chase or Higgins, but stacking Burrow only with Gesicki is an interesting choice, and maybe a differentiator there. Leaning into Justin Herbert and the Chargers, I think bets on them taking the next step in terms of volume so there's a few things that just need to go right for us. And the 5 running backs, I agree with you. In hindsight, it feels a little weaker, but it feels like that's going to be a high floor type of running back room. Not maybe it's lacking upside for ceiling.
Yeah, fair enough. And really, I think we'd have both in a vacuum preferred to go running back with our last pick there, or not our last pick, but with our second to last pick. But given the fact that we had some bye issues at wide receiver, it kind of forced us that way a little bit.
Maybe not drafting Keenan Allen and instead taking a running back at that spot would have helped, because we don't know what Keenan Allen's bye week's going to be.
Right, exactly. So, that's quite possible. But again, I just like Keenan Allen structurally. That deep in a draft, it's just so hard to, to get that kind of value if he ends up signing somewhere good, and I don't think there's really much chance at all that he's not going to sign. I think he's waiting around. He doesn't want to fool around with, possibly doesn't even want to fool around with a lot of training camp. He just wants to show up, have a couple weeks with his quarterback and get going.
Sounds like fun. Well, Dan, it's always great drafting with you. StackHunters, make sure you guys are subscribing to the YouTube channel, Player Profile Plus. Now, also check us out on wherever you listen to the podcast. Search up StackHunters. On behalf of Dan, I'm Bradley. Until next time, good luck in the best ball streets, everybody.